All right, welcome back to another episode of the Black Bullion Show for goldandsilvertoday.com. Check that website out, everybody. Okay, so today has been a very insane, crazy day. We had, big tech companies testifying with Congress today. Obviously, the Dow is down immensely today, along with other US major stock indices, continuing the trend that began on Monday of just down red days. This is red day number 3. And earlier today, when I saw that the stock market looked like it was going to be opening very low, I put out a post on my YouTube page, asking, hey, do you guys think this is the beginning of the crash? Well, I'll answer that question shortly. But first, we have to begin with a shout out to one of our viewers, Abu Hamid Al-Ghazali. Mr. Al-Ghazali wrote in the comment section from one of my previous videos about, about why gold and silver go up in the morning and seemingly head south throughout the day. So before we talk about stuff that's happening today, I do want to clarify this, why this happens, because I do think that, sometimes for us who stack gold and silver physically and don't pay attention to charts or the markets and stuff like that, day to day with price movements, I think it's beneficial in case we do happen to check it one day and just ask, well, why did this price go down or why did this price go up? Now, this is where I get to marry my two worlds of being a physical gold and silver stacker while also being a trader. Now, I personally don't trade in Forex, though it does look pretty interesting. I'm not knocking it at all. It looks pretty interesting. But much of this question can be answered by knowing, what exactly happens in the early morning hours, Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so pretty much in Forex trading, you have the most dramatic movements happening during the London session. Now, the London session happens to be between 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So whenever we see these big moves begin to develop around 3 a.m., you can be sure that what's happening with currencies is also impacting gold and silver. Also, Forex traders also trade gold using the pair XAU over USD. With silver, they use the pair XAG over USD. But what makes the London session unique is that it happens to be highly liquid, and it's known for its heightened volatility. Now, there's also something called the overlap, where the London and US sessions, pretty much overlap, where London session is from, obviously, as I mentioned before, 3 a.m. to 12 p.m. The US session is from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, because the US session is also one of the largest because of market participants, the hours between 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. tend to be the most active. So for us gold and silver stackers holding for the long term, we need to be mindful of the moves happening in a bunch of markets so that we can mentally prepare for what could come in the future, like a drop in prices like we had today. So I hope that clears up some confusion on daily price action in the markets. Now, of course, traders aren't the end all be all in cases or in causes for price action, but they do play a role. Now, we're going to come back to this chart, but I want to show what's going on here with the Dow today and, talk about that. So last week I posited whether or not we were starting to see the beginning of a crash. Remember, I think I might have put out a video on Monday, so I'll try to link that above in this video so you guys can catch that, where I kind of go into detail as to why I think the current, where we currently are in the markets, it's pretty faulty. I won't belabor that point too much, but I just want to say it's one of the reasons why is because we are currently in what's known as a third stage base, which historically tends to be much riskier than the first and second stages or base stages. Now, as you can see here, I mentioned, hey, this is the start of the first base with the correction here. The second base, we had a little bit of a, it started here. We had a bit of a cup and handle. This might be argued. And then I said, this is the third base, a double bottom with a handle. Now, if this were to be successful, the handle would have come down and then we would have gone and then we would have shot up. A lot of people who were looking at stocks at the time were looking at Amazon and others who were actually showing, I believe they're either showing a double bottom or some of them were showing a cup and handle. And, in the handle stage, they were all like, hey, Amazon's about to shoot to the moon. But, when you don't take in consideration what's going on in the overall markets, that's when, you run into trouble. Obviously, I also mentioned that volume started to decrease since the beginning of this stage. So they're just different warning signs. Obviously, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that we are approaching an election as well. So you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that, hey, this might be a time to exercise some caution. Now, today is day number 3 of us being in the red. And I can guarantee you that it's not just, due to the tech CEOs testifying today in Congress, but we also are getting markets realizing like, hey, we're not going to get stimulus, and the Ronies cases are rising right now. I also want to say, hey, shout out to another viewer named Oldman Jenkins 771 for saying that, we could be seeing some traders raising cash right now. Before the election. But if you were to ask me, are we seeing the start of a crash? I possibly think that we may. Now I'll be the first to call myself out. If it doesn't happen, if it's a fake out, I'll be the first to call myself out. But as far as this base is concerned, I think it's been invalidated. Now let's go back to gold and silver prices. Now take a look at where we are in gold and silver today. Now, now that I've mentioned Forex markets in the beginning part of this video, seeing that dip here, after 8 a.m., as you can see, it probably doesn't come as too much of a surprise. Why? Well, guys, what did we mention earlier on in the video? That's the start of the overlap between the London and the US sessions. Happens to be very, very, very heightened as far as volatility is concerned, liquidity, all of that. And again, at the start of the London session around 3 a.m., you start to see a lot more movements being made. So as you can see, before that huge drop around 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there was already a drop beginning as well. So there's that. Let's scroll down here and take a look at some of these moving averages. So here we have gold. Now, gold's moving averages, it's pretty interesting to see here. We may have crossed the Rubicon here, guys, with gold, as it's moved below its 100-day moving average support level of now 1886. Which its support level has gone up. Obviously the 50-day has been trending down, but that 100-day moved up, and now we're having we have a large red candlestick here that's pierced the 100-day moving average. So to me, I think it's only a matter of time before we see the 50 and the 100-day moving average cross. But if we cross below this psychological level right around here of 1847, I definitely have to say, all right, it's time to look out below. This is one of the last lows that we established, and if we cross below that, I can assure you that traders are going to be eyeing that level, and they will be trading in the market. So definitely watch out for that. And let's take a look at silver. Silver, pretty much same thing is happening. It looks like we did cross below the 100-day moving average. We're actually, about to do that again. It looks like right about now. So silver is on its way to having that issue as well. But I don't really want to say it's an issue, actually. I want to say it's an opportunity, because for me, I'm looking at these guys as like, hey, let's get these, or at least for me, hey, I'm going to get some of this gold and silver for the cheap. So to me, it's a pretty good, pretty good position to be in. I'm pretty much in cash right now, though I will say that I did make a couple of trades this morning in some VIX ETFs. I made some trades in VIXI and then also UXVY. Basically, I kind of waited to an opportune time to get in. Got out, and made some decent money off of that. So again, like I said, I'm raising fiat right now so I can kind of pounce on some more silver. So guys, let me know what you think about everything that's kind of going on right now today with gold and silver and the overall markets. Do you think that we are going to see a crash coming, maybe by next week? Who knows? Or do you think we're even going to have a crash at all? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you're new. It's Black Bullion for goldandsilvertoday.com.